James Bond's car was never supposed to be an Aston Martin. The producers wanted a Jaguar E-Type, but Jaguar's boss made the biggest marketing blunder in automotive history by turning them down out of pure arrogance. And that is how a $25 million legend was born, as a backup plan. But what you're about to hear isn't just a nostalgic success story. In this video, I'll tell you about the world's most famous car vanishing from an aircraft hangar, a crime the FBI hasn't solved in over 25 years. I'll walk you through the shadowy black market behind the theft. And I'll explain why the crew of No Time to Die poured 30,000 liters of Coca-Cola onto the road just to keep this car from sliding off a cliff. This isn't a car review, this is an unsolved case file. Let's rewind to the very beginning, the moment of rejection. The year is 1963. James Bond films are about to take the world by storm, but 007 still doesn't have a proper car. The producers knocked on Jaguar's door. "Give us the E-Type," they said. Jaguar's answer, "We don't need the advertising." That single sentence handed billions of dollars in brand value to Aston Martin on a silver platter. But there was a problem. The Aston Martin DB5 of that era was beautiful, but let's be honest, it was obese. The cars sat on steel chassis so heavy they rolled through corners like ships. Bond chasing villains in one of those? Impossible. And this is where a secret the British would rather not talk about enters the story. To solve the weight problem, Aston Martin swallowed its pride and went to Italy, to Milan. The Carrozzeria Touring Workshop offered them a solution borrowed from aviation. Super leggera, super light. Beneath the body panels, instead of heavy structural steel, they built a skeleton of thin, elegant steel tubes, like bird bones. So the cool, composed British gentleman you see on screen was actually an Italian athlete, dressed by an Italian tailor. And this hybrid DNA was about to change cinema history. So what kind of heart beats beneath that Italian suit? Under the hood sits a 4.0-liter inline-six masterpiece designed by legendary engineer Tadek Marek. The numbers were frightening for the era: 282 horsepower, 0 to 60 in about 8 seconds, and a top speed of 230 kilometers per hour, enough to embarrass most Ferraris on the road at the time. But the real standout was the gearbox. In an age when most cars had 4 speeds, the DB5 carried a German-made ZF 5-speed manual. Inside, Connolly leather seats and wool carpets completed the picture. This was not a racer. It was a Grand Tourer. Bond didn't choose this car just because it was beautiful. He chose it because he could outrun danger and still sip a martini in comfort. And that's exactly why it wasn't a Ferrari or a Porsche. James Bond is not a street racer. He's a spy. Pull up to a hotel in a Ferrari and everyone thinks, there's the rich snob. Pull up in a DB5 and people ask, who is that man? The DB5 is Bond's character cast in metal, calm on the outside, lethal on the inside. If Sean Connery was Bond's face, the DB5 was Bond's soul. And the thing that completed that soul was Q Branch and its legendary toys. When the director walked onto set and announced they'd be fitting the car with machine guns, a smoke screen and an ejector seat, the engineers were stunned. There was no CGI in 1964, no green screen. Everything had to be built mechanically. And it had to actually work. The Browning machine guns behind the headlights, the tire slashers extending from the wheel hubs, the revolving number plates, none of it was a camera trick. It was pure mechanical engineering, built by hand, installed into a real car. The DB5 wasn't just a movie prop, it was the most famous piece of functional engineering in cinema history, and that made it a target. In the movies, James Bond always wins. His car gets shot up, wrecked, torn apart, but he always makes it out. In real life, though, the script isn't written by screenwriters, it's written by criminals. And in 1997, when Hollywood's lights went out, what happened to this car wasn't a movie scene. It was the biggest, darkest, and still bleeding wound in automotive history. The location, Boca Raton, Florida. June 1997, the original road car, the actual film car with fully functional gadgets, was stored in a private aircraft hangar. Even by the standards of that era, it was priceless. One morning, the hangar doors were opened. Inside, nothing. Pay attention to the details, because this was not an ordinary theft. There were no signs of forced entry. The doors had been opened with a key. The alarm system had been professionally disabled. The security guard had left early that night, coincidentally. According to police reports, this was definitively an inside job. Whoever did this had authorized access, not some random burglar off the street. After the theft, the insurance company paid the car's owner $4.2 million, a record payout at the time. So where is the car? This is where the story enters FBI and Interpol territory. You've stolen the most famous car in the world. Who do you sell it to? You can't list it online, you can't send it to auction. Investigators believe the car changed hands on the grey market. The underground, chassis number filed off, paint changed, identity erased. Renowned art detective Christopher Marinello recently dropped a bombshell. He stated that the car crossed an ocean and is currently being held in a very private, very closed collection in the Middle East. Think about that. Right now, somewhere in a billionaire's private vault, James Bond's car sits, maybe suspended from the ceiling, maybe behind velvet ropes. But its owner can never show it to anyone, can never drive it, can never let the world know it's there. It's not just a stolen car, it's a $25 million hostage. No Time to Die. Daniel Craig has taken the wheel, and the action is far more brutal. You remember the Matera sequence, the one where Bond spins in the town square, firing in every direction. If the car in that scene had been a real DB5, the suspension would have snapped on the first jump. 60 years of metal fatigue can't survive that kind of punishment. The production team built 8 custom stunt cars. On the outside, a DB5. On the inside, a carbon fiber rally machine. The original DB5 body is thin aluminum panels over lightweight steel tubes. The Superleggera construction. Light, yes. But strong enough for a modern stunt sequence? Absolutely not. A single donut would have ripped it in half. That's why the stunt cars ran 450 to 500 horsepower modern engines, carbon fiber body panels, and full rally suspension. But the interior was painstakingly recreated. Real wooden steering wheel, Smith's analog gauges, hand-stitched leather, and those signature thin A-pillars that gave the driver perfect visibility. The steering was heavy, the brakes needed distance, but on a long highway, the DB5 delivered an English gentleman's club, feeling that nothing else on the road could replicate. That's why the car suited a spy, not flashy, but refined, dignified, and dangerous. And here's the stickiest, strangest secret in cinema history. The ancient stone roads in Matera, Italy, where they filmed the chase, were so slippery that the cars couldn't hold the corners. Millions of dollars in technology, useless. The solution? Coca-Cola. You heard that right. The crew poured over 30,000 liters of Coke onto the roads before dawn. As the sugar dried in the sun, it formed a sticky glaze, like glue, that gave the tires just enough grip to stick. That million-dollar breathtaking action sequence was filmed on top of grocery store soda and sugar syrup. The Aston Martin DB5, born from Jaguar's arrogance, lightened by Italian hands, turned into a ghost by thieves. Today, Aston Martin produces the DB5 again through its continuation series. Each one costs $3.5 million. Every unit has sold out. Because people aren't buying metal, they're buying the dream of being Bond. The original film car, the one with working gadgets, the one that disappeared from that Florida hangar, remains missing. The FBI file is still open. The car is still out there, somewhere, behind locked doors, in a room no one will ever see. $25 million. Trapped in the dark, the world's most expensive prisoner. The DB5 was never the fastest car of its era. It was never the most powerful. But it became the most famous car in history because it understood something that raw speed never could. Presence isn't about volume, it's about what you don't say. A Jaguar said no and lost everything. An Aston Martin said nothing and became immortal. Thanks for watching. If this story hooked you, a like and a subscribe helps us keep telling stories like these. See you in the next one.